Who are Webby's parents? Today we're going to be searching for answers to this mystery as we examine her family's backstory, history, and most importantly, their lies. And I think this ties in to what Webby's grandmother is attempting to keep from her.
We're always honest with each other, right, Granny?
I'm your grandmother, dear. I have no secrets from you from here on out.
So round up the McDuck family, we're going after these secrets. Hello fun people, I'm Isaac Carlson and I'm focused on spreading magic by discussing Disney. So if you are new here and you want to explore DuckTales more in the future, be sure to like this video and subscribe. I'm always looking for a reason to pull out my Scrooge McDuck impression and dive into the wild duck world, especially when characters begin to act pretty, you could say, fishy. Before we can dive into attempting to decipher who Webby's parents are, we first have to understand how we found out that there was a new adventure building. These lies told by Beakley weave together to lay the groundwork for what I believe is pointing us to the next grand DuckTales mystery. Throughout the quest for the Lost Harp of Mervana, we are shown Mrs. B has a high tolerance to lie to her granddaughter Webby, first seen when she starts fibbing over her concerns over the mermaids. I mean, there was a do not enter sign over a cave, bones from previous victims, and a horrible fish monster, but for some reason Beakley plays it off like there's nothing going on. I mean, Louie could see right through it, but, you know, Louie's a smart duck.
I was just meditating. About how these people are obviously hiding something?
Sure, I get Webby is a really sweet girl, and I'm sure it would be difficult to burst her bubble, but if she's going to face such perilous trials traveling around the world, it seems like she should at least know what she's going up against. And that's what Louie tries to argue.
That girl believes the best in people, especially mer people. If she finds out they're lying, she'll be devastated. And if she doesn't, she'll be fish food.
For the longest time, I thought Beakley was the model citizen of the show. She could kick butt, have her maternal moments, and be a role model for all the adventurous ducks, but it seems like I might have been a little off base. Going back to when Webby went on her original adventure with McDuck and the boys, and she lied to her grandmother as to where she was, we see Beakley plead for Webby to tell her the truth from then on.
You are safer in a sunken city with Scrooge McDuck than you are locked in a vault in Fort Knox. No more lies, and you can go with him wherever you like.
Yes, Mrs. B used to be a little deceptive in her past work as Agent 22 for Shush, but when she required honesty from her granddaughter, it seemed like that should be reciprocated as well. Reciprocated? Reciprocated. Especially after she had been a witness to how Scrooge's deceit almost destroyed his family. Lying about the whereabouts of Huey, Dewey, and Louie's mother almost kept them from being together. Therefore, it seems wild to see Beakley isn't explaining to Webby why she was locked away in Scrooge's home for 10 years. That seems like something important that you should communicate.
I kept her in a mansion for a decade. That worked out pretty well.
What are you whispering about?
Mrs. B, what are you doing? Don't you think you should probably have this discussion with Webby? Shouldn't you be sharing the truth with her? I mean, especially when we look back and see how Beakley came down particularly hard on Scrooge when he kept everything about Della hidden, when she herself has been hiding the truth from her own granddaughter. Beakley just seems extremely hypocritical.
Well, you've successfully pushed your family and everyone who cared about you away. Again. I hope you're happy.
I can understand Beakley being a little overprotective, but what the McDuck was she keeping Webby from for so long? Beakley believes Webby's optimism is her strength, but I think there has to be more to the choices she made to protect Webbigail. I think it's the truth about her origins. While I was too young to see the original DuckTales, as soon as I started hearing about this reboot, I was very intrigued. I'm a big fan of complex lore, cartoon hijinks, and the antics of Donald Duck, because, to be honest, I think he's the funniest I think he's the funniest F.O.W.L character. So I've been following the show ever since. I mean, not always week to week. I binged all of season 2 in a weekend, but now I'm going week to week, and all of that build up is just to say that I think Mrs. Beakley and Webby's story will continue to expand as this season progresses. Watching this extremely entertaining animation has been a joy, and Webby is a huge part of that. I mean, along with Donald Duck and the amazing Flintheart Glomgold. Her excitement, enthusiasm, and awkward personality work so well with the triplets, and I love seeing her relationship with all of them grow. And while I think all of this deceit will be hard for Webby to endear, I think this is going to lead us down a road that will allow us to understand her past more, which the DuckTales reboot is famous for accomplishing. And I think this new journey all began when we saw some of Mrs. B's lies begin to come to the surface when Beakley, Webby, and Louie meet the truth-telling harp. It is here where Webby's grandmother is finally caught in her lies and she becomes infuriated. This is when we see her admit that she is willing to lie to Webby.
What do you want me to say? That I lied to my granddaughter?
While Beakley had attempted to blur the truth with selective words, her real thoughts were forced out of her, and that leads to us seeing her explain why she keeps secrets from Webby.
I just want to protect you from the hard truth that in this world, not everyone means well.
And this is a really important moment for us to internalize. Beakley may be lying to Webby, but it's not like she's trying to deceive her for her own purposes. Her love for Webbigail is still there, even if part of her behavior is still left unexplained. To no surprise, Webby is crushed by this realization and for a moment believes everyone in the world is a monster, but luckily Louie reminds her of the morals that she holds in her heart. He explains that she must continue to look for the best in people and not assume the worst no matter what she experiences. And I think those are extremely important words for her to hear from one of the most faithless, he's not a super faithful guy, faithless nephews of Donald Duck, because that reminder allows her to forgive her grandmother. And Beakley plays into that for Webby.
She's not telling you hard truths to discourage you, but to help you succeed. Maybe we should have a little faith in the truth.
But we all know now that Beakley's lack of transparency with Webby has only begun to be explored.
I'm your grandmother, dear. I have no secrets from you from here on out.
The Harp of Mervana has revealed that Mrs. B is still not telling the whole truth, but then the question becomes, what is she not telling Webby about? Because Beakley makes two statements. She states that she is Webby's grandmother and that she has no secrets between them. Does that mean that she's lying about both of these statements? Is Beakley not actually Webby's grandmother? For the longest time, the discrepancy between Webby having the last name Vanderquack and Mrs. B having the last name Beakley was because Mrs. B had a daughter who married a Vanderquack and had the adorable little Webby. That's what we all assumed.
Webby Vanderquack. My granny's the housekeeper.
And at least for me, I took it for granted that Webby was an extremely capable fighter, spy, and adventurer.
I'm trained in espionage, counter-espionage. I'm super good at secret keeping.
I mean, for the majority of those 10 years, she was mostly spending her time training with Beakley.
But I was busy too, with Granny's training and my research about you. So, you know, we both had our own things going on.
So maybe everything we currently know about her ties together. Maybe Webby's supposed grandmother is actually her spy handler, who has grown to love her. I've seen some ideas suggesting that maybe Webby is some sort of super duck that has been genetically altered and created by Shush. Or maybe she's a clone of Beakley, or Webby is a de-aged daughter or sister of Beakley's. The problem with this idea is that when Beakley asked the Harp of Mervana if she wanted her to say that she lied to her granddaughter, the harp actually agrees, which leads me to believe that Beakley is in fact Webby's grandmother. This is also supported by Webby having many similar instincts to Beakley in battle. You can clearly tell they come from the same spy family line. But if Webby wasn't designed to be a spy, then why is Beakley training her so intently? I think it's because she's attempting to protect Webby from her parents, who I believe went to work for F.O.W.L. I think this begins to be a foreshadowed revelation when Mrs. B reveals her deep sensitivity about trusting others. Maybe this came about because her own child turned against her.
What do you want me to say? That people often lie? That I don't think you should trust anyone, especially not a pack of murder maids? I just want to protect you from the hard truth that in this world, not everyone means well.
And while this seems pretty dark, we have seen Scrooge McDuck at his lowest of lowest points. This seems pretty in line with that. That inability to trust anyone, paired with the knowledge that she has stated that she has had a lot of experience seeing a darkness grown inside young ducks from her early discussions with Lena, makes me think she had noticed her own child's evil grow within her before she was betrayed.
I know a bad influence when I see one.
This would all make sense with how Beakley had become famous in the villainous world as Agent 22. Maybe those evildoers focused their attention on her child to get revenge for taking down agents from the early days of F.O.W.L. And maybe this dark moment with her own child was the reason she took Webby into hiding and became the housekeeper of the McDuck Manor. I think Beakley was trying to get Webby prepared and keep her safe until her parents revealed themselves from the shadows again. And now that F.O.W.L is rising, I think that day may be coming soon. And to cap it off, when Webby and Scrooge went on their first duo adventure, in the heat of battle, Scrooge calls her a Vander Quack and not Vander... No. The wrong name. It's not a Vander Quack. He calls her a Vander Duck when she's actually a Vander Quack.
That's Webby Vander Duck, my new partner.
Yeah, but it's actually Vander Quack!
And the only Vander Duck we have ever heard of is one lesser known Velma Vanderduck, who of course was known as an opponent to Scrooge. We do also know of the existence of one millionaire of Vanderbucks, who existed as a love interest for Scrooge who longed to steal his money. You know, classic villainous trying to seduce him. And importantly for us, we are shown an example of a devious woman with a similar name to the one Scrooge called Webby. I'm sure it could have just been a throwaway joke, but the existence of these other characters, paired with all of this deceit, training, and threats surrounding the McDucks, makes me still believe that Webby's mother and father could be people who are in fact evil. And maybe Scrooge knows the true identity of Webby's parents, and for a moment, slipped up. I believe it's possible that Vanderduck is Webby's true last name, and maybe Beakley changed her granddaughter's name so she could completely hide her from her nefarious parents. And if you still don't believe me that Webby's identity is being kept hidden from the world, well, when F.O.W.L opened up their camera at the end of Season 2 to spy on the McDuck family, the only face that was hidden was Webby's. That's why her parents haven't come after her yet, because they still are attempting to find where Beakley hid her. I believe that Beakley is keeping secrets from Webby because she is attempting to protect her from her evil parents. But soon enough, all of those lies, troubles, and brooding backstories are going to be revealed soon. While we saw the boys find their mother, I think the next mystery that is building will be around Webby's evil, horrible, and villainous parents hunting her down. I believe we are going to meet Mr. and Mrs. Vanderbuck. But let me know down below what your thoughts and theories are surrounding Webby's parents. Also make sure to subscribe and click the beautiful bell, and then click on another magical video in the description or on the screen. Finally, as always, thanks for watching, and have a magical day.